All right. Good morning, everybody, and happy new week. This morning we are joined by Kylie Captain over in a hotel in Sydney because Kylie is going to be getting ready for a massive book launch today at 5 p.m. Thank you so much, Kylie, for coming on and sharing with people who watch these lives about your story and your recently published book. I'm going to show you guys Kylie's book. I mean, I know she's got it there, but I've got it open here as well. There she is. She's holding it up. But this is her book, Dream Big and Imagine the What If. And pretty much that is what the topic for discussion is. It's all about tapping into the power of dreams and the law of attraction and all that kind of stuff. So she's been doing amazing things. I mean, I've seen her already be interviewed and already get opportunities from becoming an author. So thanks, Kylie. How long was it since you were thinking about writing the book, until you did it?
Yeah, good morning, Nat. Firstly, thank you so much for having me today. Look, I've been wanting to write a book for a long time. It's just been a dream of mine. I think I said it about 7 or 8 years ago. Yeah. Once I say something, I'm just like a dog with a bone. I really need to go for it. But yeah, look, I am in Sydney in a hotel room today, but as a proud Gamilaroi woman, I'm a proud Aboriginal woman. I just really want to acknowledge as well that I'm dialing in from Gadigal country today as well. I just want to acknowledge the elders and the ancestors of this land and also my old people as well, and just thank them firstly for their strength and resilience before we officially start off with our yarn. That's really important for me.
I am going to give your official introduction. I just wanted to say something. So just listen.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you guys now the official introduction of who Kylie is, and then we're going to get started into the juicy content that she's got to it. And I hope I'm going to pronounce some of these things correctly. So Kylie Captain is a proud Aboriginal woman from Sydney. Her people are the Gamilaroi country. Did I say that right?
Yes, Gamilaroi, really close.
A small country town called Walgett in northwest New South Wales. So Kylie is a primary school teacher and an educational leader. She has an extensive experience presenting highly engaging professional learning for schools and at educational conferences. And she has recently started her Dream Big Masterclass, which I'm guessing is connected to the book. Kylie is the president of the Aboriginal Studies Association, and over the past 20 years has had an impressive career working in finance, community services and education. From breaking the cycle and facing fear to use the power of education and visualization, Kylie's story will leave you feeling inspired and motivated to take on life's challenges. And she has published now her book. She's a bestseller, and the book is Dream Big and Imagine the What If. All right, so let's get stuck into give us your background story, maybe your origin story, where this culminated to become a book.
Yeah, so look, I feel like really I feel like I've just lived many lives, Nat, to be honest. I've experienced so many different things as a 40-year-old woman now. I grew up, like I said, in Sydney, in Redfern and Waterloo, and like many Aboriginal families, we had experienced, just lots of we just did it tough, and I think as time went on for me, I was someone that just kept experiencing a lot of grief, a lot of hurdles, which obviously led me. It's obviously a happy ending. I've grown into a resilient woman, but I think it's about those hurdles that have really, I guess, shaped me into who I am, and some of the things that I've learned from those things, like, for example, like around grief, like I lost my birth mum when I was 3, I lost a sister, a best friend. I've suffered from lots of different, health conditions. I spent a lot of time in hospital growing up. I was absent a lot from school, just being in hospital with a chronic skin condition. I kind of inherited my mum's heart condition as well. So I've had 3 heart surgeries. I've got an internal cardiac defibrillator. So I'm like a little Energizer bunny. I've got like this electrical device that's there to give me, it's there to actually save my life and zap me back. But I look at it as a bit of a battery that's going to just keep me going. And I think, just lots of things, I became a single mum, sadly, with, when my kids were just 7 and 3, when their dad had passed away suddenly. But I've throughout lots of these hurdles, and I think that's just touching the surface really, I've just refused to give in to adversity. I've just been someone that's been a woman on a mission. I didn't want my kids to grow up, you know, without just experience, you know, and just not having their best possible life because of the things that kept coming our way. I set it on a mission, you know, to buy my first home as a single mum back in 2009. You know, I got a university degree while studying full time and raising my young kids. And I just started to think, well, if I can do that, then what else can I do? You know, and I've just gone on just to set goal after goal and going, wow, like, and I have always believed in the law of attraction. I'd been using it since I was a teenager, and I've got lots of different yarns and stories where I share those things in my book. But I just, once I realized, I didn't actually know that it was a thing until about 2008. But I just believe in the power of dreams. I believe in the power of manifesting, visualization, goal setting, journaling, to, I guess, for us to actually decide where to, you know, with our path. So anyway, long story short.
Some of these things you've experienced in your life, I wasn't even aware of. I mean, I was aware of a lot of it, but yeah, it's just watching you just from the sidelines and the way you share. And if someone watched you like and followed you, you know, that guy, she's got the perfect life. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you've got beautiful grown-up children now, and you know, you've got your husband and a beautiful house. You guys building at the moment, is that right?
Yeah. So we bought our dream house back in 2016 actually. So we bought and sold a few times, found the dream house, bought that one, and had that one for about 4 years or so. But a few little, I don't know, I'm a very like I follow my intuition as well, and my gut was like, oh, time to move on. But you know, we found a beautiful block of land, and we are building the next dream house, and that one's due it's to be built in a couple of months. So we're in a rental at the moment. It's not too far away, so that's going to be very exciting. And these are some of the things, you know, like for me growing up in housing commission, you know, like I didn't think that home ownership or these opportunities, you know, I've traveled the world, I've done all these things. I didn't think that those opportunities were for people like me. I always thought that it was for rich white people growing up, you know, or people that were born into a lot of money. And, you know, both myself and my husband now, you know, he's Maori. We sort of grew up, you know, with similar backgrounds, but we just together we work hard, you know, and we want to be role models, not only for our family, but for our wider communities, anyone, knowing that, you know, that these opportunities are available to all, and we can go and set goals and dream big, and imagine the what if. That what if really is about what if, you know, I could get that deadly job. You know, I use the word deadly. I use a lot of Aboriginal English. To get that amazing job. You know, what if things could turn out right despite all these crappy things that keep happening to me? What if? Because often when bad things happen, our minds are always, we turn to fear, you know, and that fear often stops us from moving forward because we're scared, you know. But there are lots of things that I've tried and implemented. I'm not saying, you know, in my book that I've, you know, nailed it all. Obviously, I'm human. We all have our own challenges. But what I do know is that there's a hell of a lot of good stuff that I've used. And I just wanted to share that with other people.
Well, I think you've earned the right, because I mean, after you shared what you have gone through and how you've been raised and how you grew up and all that sort of stuff, you need a hell of a lot of resilience and I guess self-talk that would get you through all of those things. So maybe can you talk to me a little bit about that? How does a person, what do you say to yourself, you know, about, you know, when shit hits the fan, I call it, you know, and you always happen so many times.
Yeah, so I've you know, followed the late Louise Hay as well, you know, and that positive affirmations. And even this morning, you know, I'm having my book launch today. That fear always sets in. It's like, who do you think you are, writing a book? And you know, you've always got that. Because I always felt like I was the dumbest kid growing up, you know, I had lots of learning difficulties. And so you always got this fear, you know, that comes in and goes, who do you think you are? But for me, I do use a lot of positive affirmations. I think that, you know, we can't rely on others. Sometimes we blame others and go, well, because I was born into this, or because I don't have this other person or people telling us, you know. But I guess we just have to do it ourselves. Like this morning, I had to get up and look in the mirror and go, do you know what, Kylie, you're good enough, you're smart enough, and you can do this, you know what I mean? So Louise Hay, I learned her favorite one that resonated with me many, many years ago was, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and people like me. And I thought, oh, that's quite nice. I have always been like a likable person. I have to tell myself that I'm good enough because of my own background and not ever feeling like I was good enough. And also being smart as well, you know, like I said, I did have lots of learning difficulties, never ever thought in a million years that I'd become a teacher.
Write a book.
Absolutely, that's right. But it really was a teacher that made a difference for me, hence the reason why I decided to go into education. She told me, you know, that I was smart. you know, and it was more about just the words, like it was the way that she made me feel. And I'll never, ever forget that. And I think as educators and parents, you know, that old saying, you know, like people will forget what you taught them or whatever it might be, but they'll never forget how they made you feel. So for me as a 15-year-old, and I'm really owning my story now, I was actually heavily addicted to drugs, heading down a really negative path, as well as all the other stuff. I was heavily involved in shoplifting and stealing. I was honestly on a path to probably either ended up in jail or dead. All the drug dealers in my community knew me. And this is stuff like people see me as a highly functional professional now. But I'm like, do you know what? I'm 40 now, but as a 15-year-old, as a 14-year-old, it wasn't my story. And often we give up on those kids, you know. So it doesn't matter
so was
how.
that your defining moment? Was that
Absolutely
what the teacher said to you?
Yeah, no, it changed my life. They hooked me up. My school hooked me up with work experience at the Department of Aboriginal Affairs. They knew that I was a proud Aboriginal girl, loved my culture, you know, growing up within my Aboriginal community. They did a few things, you know, they hooked me up with my work experience. Because in my community, I didn't know that Aboriginal people can go on and have, you know, careers in corporate space. I didn't know because I wasn't exposed to it, you know, and it took away the barriers. They gave me a $50 voucher to go buy some deadly clothes so I could go in there looking really flash. They gave me a bus pass to get in there because I knew that, you know, money, they want to take away the barriers. Anyway, I walked into that building and I still remember it was like this Twilight Zone moment. I walked in, I'm like, and I was just overcome. And so that was one of those law of attraction moments, you know. I was meant to be there for a week. For the first time ever, I went for the entire week. You know, a receptionist had fallen ill and I was just doing amazing. And they called my school and said, she's doing amazing. Can we have her for another week? Anyway, the guy there at the time, Gary Ella, his name was, he said, you know what, you could work here one day, go back and get your HSC, you can be deadly like this as well. And I actually did that. I listened, I went back, was the first in my family to get my HSC, and I'd always dreamt about working there. Many years later, probably 3 years after that, I was back to smoking drugs, not doing anything. I get a random phone call from a job agency going, we've got a traineeship. Are you interested? And I'm just like rolling the eyes going, yeah, not interested. I want to go back to sleep. And then they go, it's actually at the Department of Aboriginal Affairs. So I flew up out of bed. I'm like, oh my God. So my life was back on track. And Linda Burney, who's a really, you know, popular Aboriginal, you know, well-known, you know, she's in Parliament now. She was there at the time. She interviewed me, gave me the job on the spot. And then from there, I guess life just started to take place. And I always give gratitude for that moment and many other moments. But the few little things that my school did made a big difference. And as an educator, that's the message that I always give to everyone.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. You know, there's always shifts, like, you know, where we've come from and who said something and how they made you feel, that can really transform, you know, if you listen, you know, if the penny drops in that moment and it's the right moment. Did you do, so you were a primary school teacher, you did that for a little while, and
yeah. So I graduated from, you know, I worked for the last 20 years or so. I've worked in like a community service, so working for, like, you know, supporting really vulnerable families. Had a career in St. George Bank for 6 years.
Wow.
Always knowing that, you know, I needed to get back into education. I actually went to study straight from school, but back then everything was just too expensive. I didn't have the right environment. So there was a connection with the community service agency in education. So I managed to come back into education. And whilst I was there working as an Aboriginal student liaison officer, I was able to then go and to get my degree whilst working and raising my kids. And yeah, I went and taught for a little while. And then I was, you know, had the opportunity to come into a leadership position. Now I actually lead my team. So I lead one of 10 Aboriginal education teams across New South Wales, and our job now is to support schools on their improvement journey. So I run lots of professional learning for teachers around how do they get the best out of our Aboriginal students, and what works for our Aboriginal students works for all students. It's just through relationships, you know, seeing those kids when they walk in the door, telling them they're smart, telling them they're deadly, but obviously around the curriculum as well. And there's a big shift now about, you know, everyone really learning our history, you know, our shared history, not just from that white perspective, but, you know, really, I guess the truth about our country as well. And I'm really passionate about that. I share a lot of those yarns in my book because I want to unpack a lot of those judgments and the stereotypes. And yes, a lot of our history is sad, and it's, you know, it's horrible. But I think as a society, we've decided to sweep a lot of it under the rug. Not me personally, and not you, but just in general. So I think that slowly we'll get there in the future, and I'm fortunate that that's my job now, and I love it.
That is your job. Your job is to educate and bring awareness and share all your yarns and all the things that, you know, you kind of go, because people don't know what they don't know. And it is through thought leadership, which is what you're doing. You're a thought leader now. You know, you've written your book, you're running. Tell me about the Dream Big Masterclass. What's that all about?
So I love to yarn, I love to help people, I love to support people. So basically I've just created, and I did a pilot one really, and I think I had over 50 people register on a Saturday morning from 10 till 12, really just talking, sharing about my story, but all the things, you know, just to help anyone, generate a lot of conversation, get people talking, and just really understanding. I really unpack the law of attraction, about that visualization. A lot of people think that I'm Wamba crazy. You know what I mean? If you don't know about it, you know, and I remember one of my friend actually, my friend Zia, she goes, Kylie, you can't think yourself out of shitty situations. And I'm like, that's what I've done. I really have. Just closed my eyes, visualize the life that I want, you know, and I believe, you know, that the people, circumstances and events will always come my way. And for any that's how the law of attraction works. So you know, I really want everyone to know that, you know, it's no secret, you know, and I guess one of my favorite books and documentary is The Secret. And I reference that a lot throughout my book actually, but I just want people to know that, because I believe, and that's what the law of attraction states, if you're thinking negative and you're fearful, you're going to continue to attract that stuff into your life. However, if we can change it up and maybe anticipate good things coming or attract, and I get myself into the zone where I bring myself to tears sometimes, just celebrating the success. I remember when I bought my dream house in 2016, I would park at the front of that house because it was like a miracle. I needed this, it was a long story, but I needed a miracle to get this house. I would park at the front day and night, visualize my family living there, see myself taking out the bins, putting in my key.
So you hadn't bought it yet?
I hadn't even bought it. I was trying to.
Wanted to. Yeah.
3 weeks to. Didn't even have any finance approved. It was going to auction. I just knew that when I walked in, it was number 21, which has our wedding date, had all these pictures and cushions everywhere that were saying, you know, if you dream big enough, anything can come true. And I knew it had to be mine. So I was a woman on a mission just to make the unachievable, bring it to reality. But I knew I had to do the work. But at the same time, I used the law of attraction. I wrote my name with the new address on it, time and time again. I actually sat there and I would cry, just visualizing the happy moment when we got the keys. And it was a miracle. And we did it, you know, we've done lots and lots of other things. And I don't know, people, I don't know, who knows? People think I'm crazy, but I don't really care. I love it.
I don't think you are, because I do very similar things. What you call what if, I call it my I wonder game. I wonder, rather than I wish and I hope, I wonder if this could happen, and kind of make the picture in your mind. I think it is really possible to not trick our minds, but bypass the negative things if we persist towards the things that don't say what you don't want, or how hard done everything, you know, is by your life, you know, and focus and picture and write out, as you say, you wrote out I love some of those tips. So give us another 2 or 3 juicy little tips of stories, maybe of when you brought the law of attraction into, I guess, manifesting for you. What did you do? So you gave us tips. If anyone wants to buy a house, go from
the house. I mean, good health. My brain is so accustomed now just to use it every single day. Like the minute I wake up, the first thing I do is say thank you. I just give gratitude. Same. Every little thing in my life, you know, I'm so thankful, you know, that my kids are healthy, my family are healthy. You know, I turn on the tap and I've got, you know, clean drinking water. I always just give gratitude for everything. So that's how I start and finish my day every day. I've always journaled, and it's on my website now. It's all of us have created a journal.
I'll share I can share my screen. I've got your website up. Because Kylie ran out. She gave them away, and she'll have them tonight at the book launch, but she developed this amazing Dream Big journal. This is a website, guys, kyliecaptain.com.au, and this is where you can get her book, and that's the journal, and it's beautifully illustrated. You had talk to me about maybe the illustrations and then what the journal's about.
Yeah, so the illustration, so I connected with a local Aboriginal man, Darawal man, Michael Farden. He's actually designed my book cover as well. So big shout out to Michael. You know, he's amazing. So I just wanted him just to, I didn't want any stock images. I've been buying those journals for years, you know, off all the different websites and things like that. So I thought I wanted to create one for my own. So all the images and beautiful Aboriginal art is all sort of hand drawn by Michael. And I actually got one of the other ladies who I met at our retreat, actually, Sharon Weston. She actually did the layout for me because as we got talking, she's a designer so I just got Michael to do the art. I came up with all of the quotes, some of my favorite quotes. I've got writing prompts that I've created in there. So things around gratitude, short-term goals, long-term goals. I also list things like, you know, around who are the people that you aspire to be, you know what I mean? Rub shoulders with them and thinking about some of those barriers as well. I really encourage anyone to really think about the barriers so that you can have the solutions ready for when those barriers, you know, come your way. I have like a bit of a call to action, you know, like, you know, a plan or a dream is only a wish unless you have a plan, you know, so to write it out. And I also have a prompt in there as well to fast forward. So using the law of attraction, let's fast forward and actually give thanks to the universe or whoever higher power, whatever you believe in, for actually attracting whatever it might be. So whether it's even just buying a car, quitting smoking, getting a job, whatever it might be, but writing it out and just giving thanks. And then the rest of it's basically just an opportunity for anyone to journal. I really encourage journaling because often we're up in our head all the time, you know, and I've been journaling probably since I had my little light bulb moment as a 17-year-old.
Yes.
I used journaling, you know, I was a young mum. I became a mum at 19, where a lot of people would have thought, oh, here we go, you know, like she's not actually going to achieve anything. But I've just been on a mission to prove people wrong as well, because that's just how I roll. And I want everyone to know that it doesn't matter. We have the power to do whatever we set out, you know, whatever it is that we set our minds to. So I'm really proud of the journal. I only just got them off the printer on Friday. Like I said, I did have a couple of
color inside as well, just so you guys know.
Yeah, all color. Yeah, I really love it. So I'm excited. So yeah, they'll got plenty of them. So they'll be at my launch tonight, and yeah, they're available on my website.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well done. And what a beautiful little combo, because everything that people are going to read in the book, then you're kind of, this is your training, you know, it's almost like a little training manual, the journal, on the things, well, if you want to achieve the things that I've been able to, you know, kind of manifest and overcome in my life, you got to practice, do the practices and build the new habits. Because I think it's also about, as you say, you wake up, and I do the same thing. First thing in the morning, last thing as I go off to sleep, just give thanks for the various different things that we're blessed with, you know, because there's always something we can be grateful for. And always, even simple things, as you say, we've got clean water in our taps and things like that. Yeah, beautiful. So talk to me about the process of writing the book. I know you and I met before you turned 40, and you said, I want to be an author by the time I'm 40. And then kind of we had a 6 months, you know, kind of not talking to each other. And then it was just before your 40th birthday this year, wasn't it, earlier?
I think it was on my birthday, actually. I think that's when I officially signed up.
Yeah, so, yeah. Well, you contacted me a week out, and you said, Nat, this is still on my mind. I'm about to turn 40 and all that. And I think, yes, you submitted your application form on the 40th. And then you came to the May retreat.
Yes.
And then when was you booking your hands? About 4 weeks, 3 or 4? No.
Yeah, no, I've had it for a little. Yeah, I think I've had it. I got it about October, end of October.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Beautiful. So tell me about the process, because Kylie's already on in the works of preparing to write her second book next year at the May retreat. She's giving herself exactly 12 months between retreats. So tell me a little bit about the process, and then maybe if you want to give people a teaser of what book 2 is going to be about.
Yeah, so look, I mean, I had, like I said, I've been wanting to write for years, you know, so I had lots of little stories. I think by the time I came to retreat, I think I had about 20,000 words, but I wasn't consistent with it, you know. I'd kind of be really, and it was kind of like my ancestors, and just being just being nudged all the time to write, you know. So I needed the structure that you gave me, Nat. You know, I'd get motivated for a few weeks and then I wouldn't do it for a few months. So I just knew that if I kept on with that pace, it was never going to happen. I stumbled across, you know, just scrolling on social media, came across one of your little ads, come along to the half-day seminar, thought, oh, maybe that's meant to be. That's, you know, I look at these things like signs, you know, maybe it's a law of attraction. I'm attracting what I need. And I was really inspired on the day. I really, really loved it. But I wanted to think about it as well, because I'm like, oh, it's a big commitment. Can I really do it? Like financially, and obviously because I have a very busy job. So I sat with it for a while. You know, I think, like you said, I think I sat with it for about, I don't know, 4 to 6 months. And then it just, because I've always said that I'm going to write my book by the time I'm 40. And then it was like a week out, like you said, from my birthday. I'm like, the book. Then, anyway, and it was like I had a really good chat with my family, and it was my gift to myself on my 40th birthday to actually sign up. I kind of, you know, even when you said, oh, if you do the May retreat, you'll probably have your book by October, November, I was like, really? Like that freaked me out a bit, because I'm just like, oh my God, are you for real? So I guess I was just, once I did that, I was a woman on a mission. I knew that I needed to have my book by the time I turned 41, which is in February. And I think, you know, COVID really did, you know, whilst we were all in lockdown, normally my daughter dances as well. She's a dancer. So I'm normally driving her all over Sydney when I'm, you know, she's not at school. And I just used that time. So I'd switch off from work, you know, get into my writing, read, and yeah, it just, I can't believe it actually. Like I actually can't believe it.
Like it's not a book. Yeah.
12 chapters. There's a couple of photos in there. I honestly, I just cried when I first got my first book. I couldn't stop doing this. Just like, oh my God. But it was a great process. I think what we did was the structure, and I love the recipe for success, because at the May retreat, I actually had to put it out there, which scared the crap out of me. Like I had to tell my family and friends, you know, that, oh my God. And honestly, I was so scared. And I called my cousin, Bronwyn, Nat's telling me to do this. I need to, you know, and anyway, I did it. And I knew that because a few people, I think within the first couple of days, I think I had about 100 people that bought that book.
Resold, there was no way letting them down.
Oh man. So anyway, it all worked out. And I just can't believe it. I don't see myself as an author, as a writer. I'm someone that likes to tell a few yarns, and I feel like the message, I feel like I was meant to write my story. You know, I just feel like there's a few key messages, and if it can help just one person, it'll be all worth it. I have been a bit scared, especially once people started getting their hard copies, and we did the Kindle a couple of weeks ago. I was so scared, going, oh my, like that fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of success. And I talk about that in my book, and I actually had to go to the page, go, oh my God, where did I talk about fear? And I had to go and just sit and read it and remember why I started, because it's a scary thing, but I don't know, I'm feeling good today.
So you should, because you're going to be inspiring so many people, and you're going to help so many, you know, through the process. And I've seen how many people have got your book and are already enjoying the yarns and everything that you share throughout it. And I don't know, I've written 14 books, but I still don't think of myself as an author. It's just sharing information or strategies or part of my story in various books. And if they can help other people, you know, and give them, I guess, shortcuts to not take as long as, say, it took me and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that was the whole purpose of doing the program that you did, you know, is so you don't have to, as you said, wait around for years or figure out, you know, stop, start. There's accountability, there's deadlines, there's a pre-launch, there's all of the systems and structures that, you know, are there to avoid anyone dropping off. Yeah.
Yes.
I love that.
So well, book number 2, I have no idea, Nat. I've always thought
it'll come.
Yeah, I always said that it was maybe going to be like a self-help book for teenagers. I think that 15, you know, that teenagers need a bit of guidance. So I thought, you know, this book is like a 3-in-1. It's educational, it's my narrative, and then it turns into like a self-help book, you know, where I talk about courage and journaling and all that sort of stuff. So I'll obviously choose one topic for the next one. So I think
it'll drop. Last night I was sitting there watching a show, and I actually think I've got my next idea for my next book. And I think it's something like what I thought business would be like, you know, like, you know, kind of going through all of the things of what, like, false things that I used to think you would happen as a business owner and things like that. So I think often when I've had my subsequent book ideas, it's just a moment where I'm not actually thinking about what should I write about. It's a moment when I'm like either watching a show or like just like kind of all of a sudden this idea just flies in.
I know it will come.
Notice that you've got a bit of time now.
Absolutely. I'm not even worried. I know it's going to come, so it'll come, whether it's to whatever it will be, I just know that, and that's just putting it out there to the universe as well.
And you need to be writing more. You've got so many people you need to inspire, and so many people you need to educate on all of the things we've just talked about today, and just keep spreading the message, because the point is for all of us to lift up and raise and evolve, you know, to that you know, to the version of who you're becoming, and you're continuing to evolve as well. I love that. So thank you so much. I wish you every success this afternoon or tonight. From 5 o'clock in Sydney, Kylie's hosting her book launch, and I can't wait to see the photos and the videos and all that kind of stuff. And please go get her book. Show them your book again. Dream Big and Imagine the What If. And it's very simple. KylieCaptain.com.au, all spelled normal. no funny spellings there. Go visit the website. I'm sure if you get it off Kylie, she'll even sign it for you and send it out. And what would be your parting quote with us, Kylie?
Oh, just to never stop dreaming, you know what I mean? And I just to never give up, you know. There's always going to be hurdles as well, but see them as a redirection. Sometimes everything's not going to turn out and go to plan, but know that I believe that we're always being guided, and there's always a lesson to be learnt as well. So yeah, just look at those obstacles as, you know, as important parts to learn and grow. So but just to keep moving forward and dream big and imagine the what if.
That's a beautiful point to finish up on. So have an amazing, and guys, go and smash it out. Bye.
Thanks.